Just tell her the story.
Jeannie, sure, you'll have her in the haunted house already. She won't be able to sleep.
I want to hear it.
No, it's not even a real one.
Oh, she wants to hear one. Don't be moaning and tell her. Come on.
It's just a crowd of headbangers is all it was. There was a house out near where we were on the other side of the knock there. It would have been the nearest place to us, Valerie, about a quarter of a mile down the road. And the old lad, Finity, lived on his own down there, and his people got him into a nursing home out by them down in Westport. And the people who moved in were the Walshes. And your man was a sergeant in the guard stationed in Carrick. And he was 50-odd and still only a sergeant, so he was no Sherlock Holmes, you know. He wasn't Walsh of the Yard or anything like that. And they moved in. He had 3 daughters who were teenagers and a young fella who was married back near Longford there. So the daughters were with him and the missus. And I knew them a little bit because that was the year Big Finbar died, God rest him. And they arrived around the time of the funeral, so, you know, I met them then. And I was living on my own because me and Big Finbar were the only 2 in it at that time. So I was the bachelor boy and a gaggle of young ones after moving in next door. Yo-ho, you know. And around this time I would have been wondering what to do, Valerie, you know. Whether to sell it on or farm it or, you know. I was, 22, 23, you know. And it was about 11 or 12 o'clock this night, and there's a knock on the door. And it's Mrs. Walsh. And she was all upset and asking me if I could come down. She didn't know what to do. The husband was at work, out on a call, and she didn't know anyone else in the area, and there was a bit of trouble. So, what kind of trouble, I says? And she says she was after getting a phone call from the young one, Neve. And she was after doing the Luigi board, or what you call it?
A Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Luigi board. She was down there in the chipper and Carrick, was she, Finbar?
Oh, fuck off. I meant the Ouija board. You know what I meant?
The Luigi board.
She was after... Look, come on. It's not that funny, all right? She was after being down in a friend of hers house or this, and they were after doing the Ouija board. And she phoned her mother to come and collect her. They said they were after getting a spirit or this, you know, and she was scared, you know, saying it was after her. And I obviously thought this was a load of bollocks, if you'll excuse the language, Valerie, but here was the mother saying she'd gone and picked her up. I mean, sorry, but I thought it was all a bit mad. But on the way back, they'd seen something. Like the mother had seen it as well, like a dog on the road, running with the car and running after it. Like, there are dogs all around here, Valerie. The farmers have them. There was that big dog up there, Jack, that Willie McDermott had that time.
Yeah, Jesus. If you saw it from a distance, you'd think it was a little horse. It was huge.
Saxon.
That was it. Saxon.
It was an Irish wolfhound. He got it off a fella in the north.
Yeah, it was huge, So you'd be used to seeing dogs all around the place, all kinds. But they'd be tame ones, Their bark could be worse than their bite. So I wasn't too taken with this story. But she wanted me to come down to the house because when they got back to the house, the young one, Neve, was going hysterical, saying there was something on the stairs. No one else could see it, but she could. And it was a woman looking at her. And Mrs. Walsh didn't know what to do. They couldn't contact the hubby, and would I come down? I mean, what made her think there was anything I could do? I don't know, but she was panicking, you know. So I got in the car, and we went down. And, Jesus, no. I've never seen the like of it. The young one was in bits. They had a blanket around her, and she was as white now as white as that. Well, whiter, because that's probably filthy. But I'm not messing. She wouldn't come out of the living room because she said there was a woman on the stairs. And I said, what's the woman doing? And she said, she's just looking at me. She was terrified. Now, I didn't know whether she was after doing drugs or drink or what she was after doing, so I says to phone for Dr. Joe in Carrick. This is Joe Dillon, Valerie. You see him in the town. He still has his surgeries there beside the spa. Very nice fella. So I got through to him, and he's on his way, and the Neve one is shouting at me to close the living room door because I was out in the hall where the phone was, and she could see the woman looking at her over the banister, like she was that bad now. So Mrs. Walsh phoned Father Donald. Got him out of bed. And fair dues, he came down and sort of blessed the place a little bit. like he'd be more of Vatican II. There wouldn't be much of all the demons and that kind of carry on with him.
He'd collapse. He's like that, you know. Him and a demon.
Yeah. But Dr. Joe gave her sedative and, whoop, off she went then, And we all had a little drink and Mrs. Walsh was understandably very shaken and everything, But Father Donald told her not to mind the Ouija and it was only an old card and it was Neve's imagination and all this. And then the phone rang, right? And it was the young fella, the brother, back in Longford. And he was all that, his baby was crying and he had it out of the cot and he was standing at the window and there was all this commotion next door. Cars in the drive and all. That an old one who lived next door, who used to mind Neve and the other sisters when they were young and all this, who was bedridden, had been found dead at the bottom of the stairs. Like, she'd fallen down and they found her. And all right, whatever, coincidence. But that night, at home, I was sitting at the fire, having a last fag before the sack, and Jack would know the house. The stairs come down into the main room, and I had my back to it, to the stairs, and it's stupid now, but at the time I couldn't turn around. I couldn't get up to go to bed because I thought there was something on the stairs. And I just sat there, looking at an empty fireplace. I sat there until it got bright. I was like a boy, I wouldn't move in case something saw me. Oh, that way. I wouldn't even light another fag. Like I was dying for one, and I wouldn't. Mad. But when it was bright, then I was grand, Obviously there was nothing there and everything, but that was the last fag I ever had. They moved away though then, after that. The Walshes. Yeah.
And that was when you moved down to Carrick.
Yeah. Maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know.
Down into the bright lights, yeah.
Might be all right. I didn't want the loneliness, Maybe. Oh, you all think I'm the lura now, huh? I'm the header now, says you. Oh, right. I'm going to powder my nose, I think.
Yeah.